What's up, everybody? It's your boy Justin Rodriguez, your favorite lender here at Neighborhood Loans, and we are back with another episode of Cafecito Talks. And I'm super excited to introduce my guest in just 1 second. But if you guys do me a favor, like, subscribe on this video. I would absolutely love to see all my viewers here again. But we are here with an amazing special guest. Okay, we're here with Aihnoa Garcia with Realty Chicago, also president of NowRep. Also has 2 agents under her, also top producer. So we're here. She's a special name, big name in the industry. So Aihnoa, thank you so much for coming. I really do appreciate you coming out, and very much so do look up to you in the industry. So again, thank you so much for coming out, and I appreciate the time that you guys have here.
What a warm introduction.
You like that, right?
Yes. There's one thing you missed that I actually wanted to mention. Latinas in real estate. I am a published author.
I love it. I love it.
I'm a published author now. So Maggie Antilla Matthews, my managing broker, she's like always like, put it in there, put it in there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And ironic enough, it's Women's Appreciation Month, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Day 1, March 1st. So there you go. There we go. So it's awesome to have someone in the industry that is absolutely killing it, and being able to be number 1 Latina in the industry and growing as much as you did over the last couple of years. We would love to kind of shed light on your journey. Okay, I know it's a long road here. So how did you get to where in the position that you're at right now?
Well, it didn't happen overnight. It does take time, effort, failure, and consistency. And passion. You have to be passionate about what you believe in, what you want to do, having big dreams. So we can bring it back to 10 years ago when I packed my suitcase and I decided to come to America hey, let's live the American dream. Let's see what it's that about. I wanted to do big things. I knew that my why back then, and it continues to be the same. I didn't want to go to a grocery store and look at the price tag of things. If I wanted to buy a piece of salmon, I wanted to buy it. I didn't have to wait until it was for sale. So that was one of the main reasons, or the deep why in the family. I wanted to be financially free, if you think of in bigger words what I just said about the grocery store. So yeah, I came to America with $75, actually euros. And I became an au pair. That's kind of like a living nanny that also goes to school. And pretty much that was the beginning. A lot of challenges there. The language also was not, even though I did go to school for translation and interpreting studies, my written English was great, but the speaking was not. So there were some language issues there. Overcame those, and then I decided to stay in the States. It was not enough. The 2 years program was not enough. I wanted to do more, and I went to be a regular nanny without living with the family. And after 5 years with them, I wanted more. I didn't come to America to just be a nanny, which is a great job, and I made good money, and I had a lot less headaches. But I wanted to do more, a career. So I decided to do real estate. It was very, very randomly. It was one night I was just showing my roommate how to look for jobs on LinkedIn, and I had a conversation with someone about how to look for jobs in LinkedIn, and it was like, real estate was a topic. So they called me. I was just, clicking on things randomly, and they called me. And I was like, oh my God, I was thinking of a career change. And they called me. I thought they were hiring me. That's a whole different story. People don't hire you just like that in real estate. You have to go to school, get your license, and the next step. So I think I'm telling you a lot of details here, Justin.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty much how I became a realtor. Very randomly. And then I was part-timing for a long time. I had 3 jobs at a time, and I wanted to have some savings. I know every agent is different, or every career is different. Every path is different. So I decided to have 6 to 12 months of reserves in case I didn't sell anything at that time. And I didn't have anybody in America to be like, hey, let me crash in your couch if I cannot pay my bills. So I didn't have a car when I started doing real estate. And I was telling my client, which funny enough, he's a realtor now in my company. And I was telling him, When I went to do your showings, I was taking the train, I was taking Uber, I was borrowing cars, I got robbed in the train. And he was like, oh my God,
Oh
really?
shit, that's crazy.
But we didn't see a lot of homes. So
Yeah.
they chose fairly quickly. And I bought my car with that one closing. And then little by little, but
Dang.
we can go into the conversations. I
Well,
feel
that's
like this is
beautiful though.
monologuing.
I know, but I mean, honestly, it's a beautiful story, right? Coming from, from the position that you were in and then coming with 75 euros coming here and
Yeah.
honestly building an empire and building that foundation, strong foundation. It takes a lot. But do you feel like, was it the motivation from your family background? Because a lot of times for me, it sounds you're first generation, right? People coming over here, and for
Yeah.
me, it was a little bit different because I was second generation. So I had my grandparents who came from absolutely nothing. They worked at factories their whole life, and then they
Yeah.
progressed to my parents, and then my parents made a very successful living, and then I came, right? For you being a first generation, was the motivation tied to your family and their bloodlines? Did you just want to kind of make sure that your family could live a lifestyle that they wanted to and be that financial freedom? Is that what motivated you to be where you're at, or what was the stem behind your motivation on your growth?
I guess this goes exactly to that root why that I said before.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to be necessarily the person that's going to change the next generations per se. Like that was not, oh yeah, I'm going to wake up one day and I'm going to decide that I'm
Yeah.
going to change the trajectory of what these family, Garcia Jimenez family, is going to go years after I was on earth. No, that was not the motivation. It was the grocery store. Um, at home, I saw my parents arguing over money. And I told myself that was not going to happen to me. And my children were not going to see that. So that was the, I guess, kind of like the lighting the fire. I did wanted to have financial freedom. I didn't want to depend on anybody financially. And that little by little, it became then, even though it was not my main purpose, it became that, hey, we're changing the pattern here. Now my future children and their children might have other struggles that I will not. They're similar. They're not similar to mine, but it's not going to be from a perspective of financial freedom. I do want to set that foundation now, and them having that generational wealth already set that I didn't have. However, I did have a lot of other aspects of that foundation, even though it was not financially per se.
Yeah.
My parents did give me a lot of tools that now are giving me the strength and the push and the motivation and the consistency that I need now because they were hustlers themselves,
Yeah.
just not in America as an American dream, or their world might have been smaller than it is for me. I see the world a lot bigger, but also very much more connected. I can be anywhere and do anything.
Right.
And obviously it comes from what they have given me, which it might not be that financial freedom, but it is indeed the push to wanting to do more, if that makes sense.
No, that 100% makes sense, and it really ties in together the one concept that I love, right? And that's creating something from kind of nothing in a way, right? For a lot of people, young individuals that might feel unmotivated or people that feel as if they're stuck in this life cycle, because I feel like, especially within the Latino community, I love our community, but we really do get caught up because we don't have the literacy of number one, the motivation to, or number two, to take the risk to make sure and ensure that everybody gets that financial freedom, because we feel as if we're going to be stuck in that cycle and we're grinding for our future, but in reality, without taking the risk and the initial step of starting a business or getting into a commission based job or getting into something that is scary, and it's very hard to get yourself into without reserves and things like that. But once you take the risk, you're going to reap the benefits in the long run, right? And I feel like within our community, that's the toughest part, right? And I always wanted to shine light on that, right? To the people that we're growing up. And one thing I respect about our community, though, is that we would do anything. We would do anything for our people. And I love my grandparents. That's exactly the reason why. And I refer it as like a tree. Right? I look at my grandparents and my family like a tree. My grandparents came from nothing. They had two seeds and they plotted it in the ground. They watered it, it growed a little bit. My parents came, they watered even more, it sprouted. And my only job is to maintain and make that tree grow. Right. And the beauty in the story that I see in yours is you're the person that's planting the seed, right? You're the one that's manifesting and allowing it to grow. Your parents were the ones who actually bought the seed, but you're the one that's planting it and allowing it to grow. And your kids are going to have to maintain it and grow that. And that's the analogy that I want to pass forth to my family in the future, for my future things, because that's what motivates me. That's what wakes me up and the reason why I'm grinding to where I want to be every single day.
I love the metaphor.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah, that's the way that I looked at life at a very young age, because I always appreciated the amount of work and effort my parents always put into my life. And they made life seem so easy. And my grandparents made life seem so easy, and I knew how much money they made. So and that's my job, right? My job is to look at income every single day. So when you see income every day and how much every single person makes, and you could see happiness levels. And that's where it's interesting to me, because I've seen people who've made $300,000, $400,000, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they were happy. It didn't correlate automatically to happiness. I've seen people who made $50,000 a year that were living the best time of their life. They bought their first house and they're living the great life, right?
Yeah.
So I think that money doesn't correlate to happiness.
Correct.
But at the same time, having that financial freedom to be able to walk into a grocery store and not have to worry about anything is a great feeling.
You see, I didn't tell you I wanted to buy a Gucci belt.
Exactly.
I told you I wanted to pay for wild salmon, right?
Right. Yeah.
No, I totally agree with you. Money does not buy happiness, but if you are in a position where you are financially free, you can help more people. That's one of my main goals too, not just to help my family or those who are very close to me. I'm looking to a larger scale. And with money, more money, you have more doors open for you and for anyone you want to connect to those doors as well. So I do see money as a tool, but it doesn't buy happiness. We have to be content and happy with ourselves, socially, spiritually, with our lifestyle, with our decisions. We do have to be happy by choice every day, but it helps a lot to not have to worry about paying your bills.
Right.
So that's what's okay. Let me cover my point one. And then let's go into the next one. Health is a huge. I know you work out like every day, like 7 hours.
But and it's interesting. So I'm very interested in your situation. The fact that you came here with 75, and obviously you built a very successful business. So mentally, what's the differences, and I guess in the struggles, right? From coming from $75, obviously financially struggle was something that you first struggled with, now to a business aspect. Where do you see your struggles different from the day that you landed here to now operating a business and multiple things, books, obviously now rep, owning your real estate, you're the head of your real estate team. So what is your struggles difference from the beginning to the end now?
There are similarities and there are differences. I will start with the similarities. The similarities are at both times I was thinking of other people, not just myself. When I had very little, just coming with that job, I was thinking of not only how do I make it in America and have a roof over my head, but also how do I help my family? How can I send them money to help them with certain things? That was similarity. With now, I'm not only thinking of how many deals do we need to pay me. I'm thinking of, let me take care of my people first. How do they get paid? How does the team sustain itself? How many deals do we need to do that? And how many people we need to talk to actually make all of those numbers happen? So that's the similarity, or the main similarity. Thinking of others, obviously thinking of me too, but thinking of others, it gives you that sense of responsibility and more commitment to the cause or to the purpose. It is, I have to make it. Like I have to make it. Other people are relying on me. I have to make it. So that gives me a little bit more of accountability as well. So that's similarity. The differences is just the amount. That's really it. The amount when I remember transitioning to this new career of real estate when I had to hold 3 jobs to have build the reserves and still pay my bills as I went. I said, you know what? Let me bring a piece of paper, and I just wrote down rent, gas, electricity, grocery. I shopped at Aldi back then, and I just needed $25. I know groceries are a lot more now, but it was $25 for myself only per week, the average. I was like, okay, then if I had internet and average gas, if I was borrowing a car, how much would I put in there? How much was my Ubers? So I just put all in a paper, and I knew I had to make at least, just to come clean, $1,570. That was $1,570. And that was just the very minimum. If I had that, I could pay what I needed to, and the rest was going to be family back home and savings for the reserves. So I would say, and this goes into maybe how to plan some of these agents, new agents, or anyone thinking of changing careers, if they are considering, well, when is a good time to jump full time? I know everybody's different, and I know many people say, just jump, you figure it out as you go. Well, it really depends on your own circumstances. As I said, I didn't have anybody to call, hey, can I just crash in your house? I cannot pay rent and I'm being evicted. I didn't have that. So I had to make sure I had reserves to send back home and to my leaving, and then being able to jump. And I don't regret it. I know that my own growth has been different if compared to other agents that they started when I did, and we're all different. But I could say mine was gradually and organically growing. And when I had enough for 6 months of that 1570 plus what I wanted to give back home, especially March every year, I had to send a larger amount. So if I had that for 6 months, I could consider making a plan for the next 30, 60, 90-day transition to full-time. I end up having a full 12 months reserves ready on July 29th of 2017. I said, that's it. We are out. And I canceled the other jobs. And I said, well, now it's time to fly. And that was the first month I got top producer in the company.
Oh, I love that.
I got 11 deals that July.
I love that.
Yeah, by myself.
Oh my gosh. Well, give me the timeline of it. So when you first jumped into real estate, how long did it take you to close your
I said
first
17,
deal?
2019.
2019 was?
That full time. 17 was almost when I got my license. No. 2019 was the jump to full time.
So that was a jump. And then 2019, when you became full time, how long did it take you to close your first deal?
So part-timing, I was already closing.
Oh, so you're already closing deals during those times.
Right. On the part-timing, I was already, because I work 100 and I think the week that I got the most, it was like 150 hours, like ridiculous amount. 3 jobs. And that was from 5:30 to 11:30 every day, Monday through Sunday. So I got I signed up with Realty of Chicago when I got my license. That was 2017 at the beginning of it. Took me 6 months to close the first deal. But I worked every single day. Like people will think I was doing full time. No. And I was doing a lot of video before video was a thing.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking outside the box all the time, like just being creative and putting in a lot of time in open houses. I didn't have money to pay for marketing, and I didn't have that sphere of influence either. Yeah, because I'm not from here. Yeah. So I had to create more opportunities. And a way of doing that was attending many open houses, Saturday and Sunday, every single weekend. And I met a lot of people. I still closed business from those first open houses because they were not ready then, but we maintained a relationship all this time.
Stayed in contact.
That was 2017. And then full time was July of 2019.
Mm-hmm. And I
Yes.
see some parallels from the day that you came from Spain, you had nothing. From the day you started real estate, you had no relationships, no bill,
Yeah.
or nobody that you actually knew to kind of move forward. So
Yeah.
and I think the people thrive the best when their back is against the wall. Right. So
I agree.
when you're able to kind of you have to figure it out, that's when you're going to have no choice but to figure out your hunting mode, right? You got
Yeah.
to find your food. You got to find how you're going to make your next check, next deal, and you have to be on top of your game in order to do so. So I guess at what point in time in your real estate career did you kind of figure out the secret sauce, the formula that you needed in order for you to actually be a high producing agent? Because I feel like a lot of people get into the industry and they have no idea whether they're running like a chicken's head loose, right? They don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So what point did you kind of figure out your tactic in order to generate some business?
I still haven't fully figured out, oh, what's the secret? The secret or secrets is to put in the time, to really dedicate the time and not thinking that things happen overnight. Don't compare yourself or, your career to Justin's career, or to everybody has different strengths, different timing of things, different life circumstances. So I wouldn't necessarily say that it's a secret. I would just say you have to put in the work, and there's no shortcuts to anything. And I know this sounds cliche, but it's really true, especially if you come from a place where you don't have any previous book of business, if you don't know many people, you have to do a lot of the foundation of the relationships, because at the end of the day, this is a business of relationships. So you have to put in the time. And as you get busier or more people give you an opportunity to work with you, you have to implement systems. So I would say first, the foundation is putting in the time, try different things, don't compare yourself to anyone. Then you have to implement systems to maximize your time, to speed to action. I tell the girls all the time, like, when we get a lead, when we just have to be on top of it, and we have to add a speed to everything that we do. So systems will be key. I would say that's kind of like the next level secret. It will be implementing systems. And maybe number three, continuing to refine who you are, and bring in more resources to your team, to yourself. Continuing learning, know your market. Eh, be the knowledgeable person in the room for anything at all times, and that will help a whole lot with those relationships and what you offer to your potential clients.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And I always tell people, like, when I got into the business, right, I truly do not feel like I did anything different or anything special. Like, I don't think there's a secret sauce. Truly, I really don't. I think it's being consistent, staying disciplined, continue to put in the hours, and the business will come. If I didn't have a lead today, I would go sit my happy ass in a mall or sit in a Starbucks, and I will talk to every single person that walks in there and find somebody that's, interested in the process and just willing to get educated. Like, those are the things that I feel like a lot of people, keep it simple, stupid, right? Make it to where you know your strong suit. And if it is kind of making time for yourself to just staying organized and doing meticulous things like paying for, maybe Facebook ads, maybe you're very good at marketing in that sense or anything along those lines, then find what your niche is. And I would say stay consistent with it. Right. So for me, it was a personality thing. I knew that I love talking to people. I loved kind of just having a conversation with somebody and building a relationship. Right.
Right.
So that's where I knew I had to meet as many people as I possibly can. So I made a mission, meet as many people as I possibly could in order for me to grow my business. And over the last 3 years, the more relationships that I've built, I found it very interesting. That's like, you hear so many stories, and I found it that, you could quickly tell everybody's niches. Like, they're very
Yeah.
good at specific thing. I know you say you don't have a business plan, but I know you're one of the
Oh
most
no, I do have a business plan. I
but
don't
you
have a
don't
business secret.
yeah, you don't have like but I know for a fact, I already know you're systematized. Like, you're one of the most systematized agents, and you're one of the most hardest working agents I know.
Thank you.
When you tell me these plans and structures that you already have, every month sending your VIP clients something, and those are very meticulous, smart things to do, but not a lot of people do it, right? And
Yeah.
we all know what to do. Like, we all
Yeah.
know the secret sauce. We know the ingredient. We have the ingredients in front of us, but it's like no one takes the plan of action, right? And I feel like you surrendered yourself to the process. You understood everything, and you actually applied it to your business. And that's what kudos to you for continuing to do that.
But nobody has a perfect either. It could look like it, but in reality, we all have things that we need to get better
Yeah.
at. And even though from the outside it might look like it's all like that, it is still still a lot of room for improvement, and
Hmm.
it's still refining those systems and refining how we do things. So it's not, and that's something I did, I guess, going back to your question on when did something click, or if there is one thing that did click, was accepting that things in this job or in this industry, they're in constant change, and you have to be upgrading all the time to everything. So I would say that that is probably that wake up secret alert,
Yeah.
accepting that.
So I mean, I guess the thing that I want to touch base on, right? And I found it very interesting how you explained your team. Number one, I thought your team members, I thought you were sisters. That was first. I thought you were related some sort of when I first met you guys. So I find it interesting how you chose your team, because that's one of the biggest things that I'm scared of, right? Hiring
Yeah.
somebody and making sure it's the right fit for the clients, for obviously my referral partners. So how did you go about really choosing your agents that are a part of your team?
So to be honest, I feel like it's been also just a blessing, some luck in there too. The first edition was Nancy Sanchez. I don't know where the camera is. Um, she is and has become a very important part of the team. She's a friend. She cares, and that was what I wanted the most. I wanted someone that would care. As nobody's gonna care about your business more than you. That's off the table, right? But as close as possible, I wanted someone that was going to take care of the clients the same way I would, that they will take the time to educate the client. Whatever was important to you, that's working with your clients, that's what that next person, depending on the role that you need. And in this case, Nancy was the person that was just an extension of myself. At that time, I closed 56 transactions by myself. And after 56, I was just not having a life. Like, it was just all day. I couldn't take care of new leads properly. I had some leakage going because I didn't have enough hands. So I wanted that extension of me. And with all due respect to, obviously, Nancy has her own personality and is a beautiful person on her own. But I'm just saying it was very similar to what I offered to the clients that we have. And she was just that kind of extension of it. Then Andrea, it's a lovely addition that came very out of nowhere almost, and it became these creative mind. She's a team player, and you do need people that they are team players, people that they are there for the long run, that they want to contribute, they want to be part of something bigger than just one person, something to create something together. She has these workhorse Nancy too, and I do too, workhorses. But
Yeah.
Andrea puts in, she's facing challenges, and it doesn't matter, we all do. And but she just goes and resiliently. So Andrea was hired, as I said, kind of, let's give each other an opportunity type of thing. It's been working great, and I hope that the team will continue to grow. And the next one, which we're not necessarily officially hiring, but always the doors are open for any inquiries. We will be looking for talent, and hiring by talent, well paid, maybe someone more on the admin side, but to release a lot of things from our plates so we can focus on our strengths more and not having to do a little bit of back end work that we all are now splitting.
Hmm.
So I think that will be the next step. I know that other business models start with hiring first your assistant. So this is something that maybe you want to explore, or somebody else want to explore that. Someone that will do the paperwork, the preparing the DocuSign, the folders, booking your open houses, and taking care of that back end work, so you can be the face of your business and talk to people. That works for a lot of people, especially new agents, that they might not have the resources to hire someone more paid than just base. Um, and also the buyer agent, or adding a buyer's agent type of model. I feel like it's not just, oh, let me have a buyer's agent. I feel like it should be an extension of who you are. Otherwise, the two, if you meet with a client for a consultation and then you send somebody else to do the showings and taking care of the client in the transaction, if you told them things were going to be in a certain way, your personality and everything, it has to match with whoever is going to be taking
Right.
care of them, for sure. So, but buyer's agent split wise is an easier way to go financially, seems like, because you can just work with the splits and it doesn't necessarily come out of your pocket up front. You don't pay salaries. It's more like, hey, we make this, we make this. So it's more of a collaboration type. So there are many models of doing things. You just have to find what works for you. But I would say always find someone that will be a representation of your brand, of who you are, of who you want to be, like how you want to be perceived.
Okay.
And it has to be that same.
And how's the hiring and firing process? That's something else too. Like I'm probably gonna be the worst person to like, okay, you're fired. Like I can't. I'm like, that's gonna be something where it's tough to present to somebody, but I know it's a part of the business. So how was that process for you? And did you have an opportunity to do either side, or has it always been the same agents that you've already had?
I don't have a lot of experience on firing. We
Yeah.
have been lucky enough to work with the same people. There are restructuring things that we have to do and homework within the team, but I don't see the need of even talking about the firing side with the actual team. But we did have some experiences where I've interviewed other people and it just didn't make the cut.
Sense.
It just didn't make the
Yeah.
cut to continue further conversations. And then when we give it a shot to, I say we because I do consider team as we.
Yeah.
We all are part of the hiring and the firing in a way. So it has to be a match now to the team, not just to me, but to the extension of all. We did try something, it just didn't work out. It sometimes it's a personality thing, sometimes it's life circumstances get in the middle. So it was just a very kind conversation with that person saying that we're no longer a fit. And I feel like we do a lot of hiring and firing with our own clients too. We need to be able to have a conversation with our clients when we are being hired and hiring them. I feel it's a two-way street too. And I tell my clients all the time before they sign any buyer's agreement or seller's listing agreements, we tell them the same thing. If we reach a point where you and I are no longer a fit to work with one another, we will break these agreements and we wish each other luck. Let's move on with our lives. So we do discuss firing often with the client in the event that we have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty comfortable with that type of the conversation. It's very simple. If you are going to be firing someone, let's see first, what did you give the expectations? Did you give the list of tasks? Did you guide them the right way? If all of those are checking the boxes, then did they perform what they said they would? And if it's not, you can give, 30, 60 day, hey, let's review what you're doing here. Let's review. And if it's no longer a match, I heard this is by Profit First,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful book. It's about thinking of what is the profit of the business first, not the expenses, but first, what is going to be the profit? And I found that approach really, really clever for our business. You have to see if this hire is going to make you or the team or the company is going to help you make 3 times the amount of their salary. So if that person, that hire position is not bringing to the table, maybe they're bringing other things, you should evaluate that. But if that person is not helping you make 3 times their salary, it might not be a fit. So having those conversations up front and making sure the other person understands that if at some point, obviously you have to keep the communication open and let them know or ask them in your weekly meetings and things like that, checking in. Hey, is anything that will prevent you from performing this week? Maybe their dog died, like
Yeah.
something, and they are busy or they're not feeling their best. If you have that open communication, you might be able to understand a hiccup. And then that's also why a team is part of teamwork. You might be able to just, that's okay. I'll help out. I'll do part of those calls that you have this week. I'll take care of it. That's teamwork.
Yeah.
And that's our approach in my team. But also understand that ROI, like the return on your investment, needs to be there. So that's what
No,
I would say about hiring and firing.
that's a great way of putting it. I honestly have never even thought of, to kind of 3 times your business in order to hire somebody for the amount that they're at. That's very smart. And it's a different perspective. And one thing I want to touch base on is in the business aspect, right? You've grown a lot over the last couple of years. So
Mhm.
do you feel as if you're closer to the point of that, financial freedom that you've been kind of hoping for and wishing for? And I want to dig deeper into your mindset on that, because I feel like one thing I learned is the more money you make and the more things that you make, the hungrier you are, right? So
Mhm.
you're always gonna kind of hold yourself accountable to a way it's like, okay, I want to 10x this business, I want to 10x this business, I want to
Right.
10x it. So do you feel as if you're happy where you're at and not content, but do you feel like you've made it to the point where you've fulfilled what your first American dream? I know when you first walked in, do you feel like you fulfilled that, or do you feel as if you're still hungry for more food on the table?
I'm starving. Um, One thing is being hungry for more, and I feel that feeds my passion, feed my starvation, and vice versa. Like I want that to, otherwise there's no reason for me to even be alive. Like I want to be passionate about something, wanting to grow, wanting to do some things without losing sight of this is life. I am okay. I'm healthy. Like, and celebrating the small wins, the when reflect on the losses too, for learning purposes, but being content to where I am. I would say I'm not content, fully content. I want more. I have other goals. You said that the last 2 years, yeah, there was growth, but there was also a lot of pain on the personal level, and I feel like I wanted to do a lot more, a lot more. So not content there yet. To sit. Um, I have many things in the works and many things in my mind, in my dreams, and that fuels that, pues esas ganas de vivir. Um, but on the flip side, I do feel happy, fulfilled, content about many things if we start reflecting in the, like, since I came to America. There are many times where I was like, wow, you did that? Oh, wow, that happened too? Oh, wow. I still remember many of those small wings when I bought my first car with that, closing check. I still remember my tears outside Chase before cashing it on a Friday, 2 p.m. outside the bank, wanting to go in. Also, like looking at the amount with my sunglasses so people wouldn't see me like tearing. Um, yeah, that was a small but big. At that time, I wanted to maximize the time. I wanted to have a car so I could show more homes, so I could do more things. So that was a big win when I purchased my first investment here in Chicago, and I was looking at the building. My car was outside too, it paid off, and I was like, this was last year in the summer, and it was beautiful summer night, like pinkish sky. And I just looked and I heard the birds, and I was like, oh wow, let's pause a moment and be happy with this. You are the owner of this, and you came with nothing, So yeah, having those moments to sit, reflect, and be thankful for what happened and how you did it. But no, I want a lot more.
Yeah, and that's beautiful. I feel like everyone has those moments, right? And I had a very like identical moment to that because you get caught up in this business
Yeah.
and exactly what I'm talking about, right? You get caught up in the day to day. So you're like, okay, you're only as good as your last month. How am I going to do this month in the
Yeah.
business aspect? And you get lost within your own business that you don't even realize. Your own personal life, you're
Yeah.
achieving a lot of the goals that the mini wins, the small wins that you always wanted to do. You're accomplishing it, and it's almost like you're
Yeah.
overlooking them, right? And I had a little housewarming party in my house, and one of my good friends came to me. He's like, "Man, you got the house, you got the building, you got the dog, you got a girl, you got this." He's like, "Man, you're what else you want? Like, what you're killing it. Like, it's amazing what you're at." And then again, I sat back, I looked up, and I'm like, "Oh shit." I do got all that, and it's a refreshing moment. And you take
Yeah.
the moment to yourself. You're like, you're in a good position for yourself, and it's a beautiful moment to have. But then it's interesting enough. The next day, you're like, all right, what's next? What's next? And you're
Yeah.
always on the hustle and grind of it because honestly, we love what we do. We love what we do, and for that
Yeah.
reason, we wake up every day with a smile on our face, and we go out and hustle and grind every single day for the people
Yeah.
because we care about our business, right? There's not a lot of people. There's some people who say they care about their business and don't actually put in the actions or the work to do it, right? You and I are people who are always consistently going to put forth the work and the efforts into growing our business,
Yeah.
right? So that's where the mindset comes where you're always like, okay, what's next? How do we grind? How do we do this? How do you get your next lead? How do you do that? What event are we doing? And we're consistently making sure that our business is growing.
Yeah.
And I think that's a positive side of our business, but it's also a negative side on the flip side where does become mentally draining at some points, right? Because I'm similar to you when you were doing 56 transactions, right? Recently, I felt like I've been working more than I have ever worked ever. And last year, I was producing more this time last year than what I'm doing right now. And I feel like obviously because the market is a little bit different,
Right.
you have to produce more, but
Mhm.
I'm working 7 days a week, right?
Yeah.
And it does get tiring, but what keeps pushing me and moving me forward is again my future and what's my why, right? So for you, do you have that vision already? Because I know for a fact I do. I got looking at beaches, putting my feet out. I'm done. I don't have to work. If I want to, I can work, but it's not a necessity. So do you have that vision of what your future looks like when you do feel like you've accomplished enough to where you can kind of put your feet up and be financially free?
I yes and no. I don't see necessarily the bitches like I don't know if I said bitch is the right way. Just like
There you go.
resting, looking at the water. I think that and this goes to the mental tiredness or exhaustion that we go with this career. I think breaks are very important too,
Hmm.
where you can take these vacations. That's also why we have these jobs that you can pay for those. I do see an age that I would love to be officially retired. Even though I do want to have my investments going,
What's the age?
managing 40.
40? Ooh, I
Yes.
love it.
But I want to do other things after that
Hmm.
and explore other parts of myself and other talents and then other things that I might want to learn then. That because of time now I might not putting it to learn about those skills. So officially that will be the age. I said it out loud. Now everybody knows it. Um, but it's still wow. It's still far. But I do want to be officially retired. Then I want to buy to hold 2 properties per year. We're looking to purchase one in another one back home. I do own some things back home, but I want to buy something else this year, more with the exit plan. I don't
Hmm.
want to live in Chicago full year. Um, I want to live in between.
It's awesome.
Also with Spain and maybe other countries, who knows? But I see traveling. I see learning. I see sharing. I see people.
Hmm.
I'm not a solo person, even though I'm very independent. I'm not a solo person. I like to be in groups
Hmm.
and do things with people. So I see a lot of volunteering. I have always volunteered. I mean, I still do. Um, Officially now with NARA, but before that, I was a CASA advocate for children in foster care for 5 years, and I like to dedicate my time to other things. So I see that happening once that financial freedom is kind of on the side. not having to worry about those bills, I do want to worry about other people and other ventures.
No, yeah, for sure. And I think that, and that's the picture and the painting that, you have to kind of have
Yeah.
in order for you to achieve it, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm big on manifesting. I'm big on
Yes.
really kind of putting down your goals, writing them down, and making it a reality,
Yes.
right? So when I picture it, and this has always been my picture. I don't know if you heard the song Frank Sinatra, "My Way,"
Yeah.
but I
And I know it
always
in Spanish. Se la puedo cantar y todo,
oh, dude,
eh?
it's funny. Dwight and I, we were listening to it at his house. We were smoking a cigar, and it was like one of the best ones ever. But the point that I'm trying to make is, I can envision like a life where
Yeah.
where you, not that I don't want to work, but I don't have to work.
Right.
And I always envision that life, and I love the imaginary that, you being on the beach, being on the sand, smoking a cigar, and listening to that specific song, whether it's Spanish, English, wherever it is. But I love hearing it because it's like what I envision is me being my older self and looking at all the things that I've already accomplished and done in my life, and I did it my way, and that's what I love about the vision, and that's what drives me. That's what keeps me going. It's like I'm not stopping until I get to that point
Yeah.
to where I am there, and I can travel, I can do the things that I want,
Yeah.
and I don't ever see myself stop working. Truly, I don't, because
Right.
I'm
But
obsessive.
it could be another work, another venture, another.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's that's the beauty of it. I don't see myself stop working because I'm crazy. Right. I love when I love it, I'm like headstrong. I'm gonna figure
Yeah.
it out. I'm gonna make it work. But I do see myself getting to the point where I don't have to work. It's me working is just an addition to my life, giving me purpose, and continue to drive me to a future where money isn't an issue, but again, I just have the financial freedom to do it, right? So out of all the experiences that you travel, is there a reason why you go from Spain to the US? And how like culturally different is it from Spain to where we're at in the US? I know it's probably a lot faster here, but what's the main differences between the two?
Well, you do spot on the speed of things.
Yeah.
Here, everything is just go go go. In Spain, I feel like the quality of life comes first. Your relationships, seeing your friends, seeing your family, food, and just the traditions, the weather,
Yeah.
pretty much the lifestyle. And it's more calm. Doesn't mean that we
Tranquilo.
don't work. I say we, like I live there. But it's you work, but you don't live to work. You work to live.
Mhm.
And I really like that. That kind of like, hey, right outside your house. Let's grab, some appetizer, some tapas, whatever after work. And you don't have to put things in the agenda with 3 weeks in advance to see a friend. So yeah, more of the slower pace in a way, and the weather too, the food. Yeah. Those, I would say those are differences, and I would like to stay closer to that.
Mm-hmm. Dude, and I think everyone in the United States is like that. Outside the United States, I mean.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I hear so many people talk about Europe and things like that. And
Yeah.
one thing I love about it is they always talk about how relaxed and calming it is. And, that's why a lot of people, I feel like, within the United States are unhappy and just kind of chasing a dream, because we're all fast paced. Everybody, you see millionaires that are still trying to chase what?
Yeah.
Right? What are you chasing? Right? And that's where it comes to a
It
certain.
becomes addictive
Yeah.
in a way. Is just like anything else you do. I would say maybe not use the word addictive, but it's a habit. Just
Mhm.
like anything else, you want to create a habit. Well, guess what? After 10 years of pushing, working, waking up at 5 a.m., go, 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 do this and do that. And don't forget to call that person and get this and talk about this and go this time. All of that, it becomes part of who you are, because it's a habit of more than the 21-day habit creation
Yeah.
time, or 60, depending on who you listen to. It's 10 years, it's 20 years of your life doing that. So that is a habit.
Right.
It becomes part of your personality, being that fast about everything. And if there is something that I learned in the last couple of years, very much, is health, taking care of your health. and living in gratitude. So anything else, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
We will get to chase those dreams. We will be passionate about those only if we have health and those who we love have it too. So if that is covered, we can chase any dreams and we can do anything.
Mm-hmm.
But from a gratitude perspective and in a healthy body and mind, that's for sure.
And how do you feel like you've been able to put that and manifest that?
Just like anything else, it takes daily practice.
Yeah.
Some days you feel like you want to say the affirmation. Some days you have to pull it out of your mouth to say, I'm thankful for. Something that we do with the team every Monday before we start our team meeting for the week. We talk about intention for the week, what we are thankful for, and also we say an affirmation. And that's kind of like the intention and the tone for the week. So practicing that, even if we feel like we don't want to do it, we don't want to say it, it's creating that habit, again, to the habit creation, right? You will look at yourself in the mirror in the morning and be like, okay, I have 2 eyes. I see well, don't I? Okay, I have 2 hands. I can touch my face. I can hold my own cup of water. I can walk. I can take a shower now and get ready. Come on, let's go. Right?
Yeah.
So you check yourself and tell yourself that you are complete and you're good. And then the rest is just secondary.
Yeah.
So you have to practice to get those habits in. It's not easy. It's not easy. I don't wake up every day thinking that I want to conquer the day. It's practice. I tell myself that, and because of time, not even having, a small moment made a whole day collection. So if I conquer this moment, this hour, this issue, hey, I'm good. Let's go into the next one. So I wouldn't let a moment ruin the entire day.
That's
I
important.
will collect the positive and build it to have a great day. But if I have a moment that is not as good or is challenging or is negative, I would allow myself to feel it. But let's just leave it in that moment. The next hour, the next moment, this should not come into the next moment, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Scheduling your feelings.
I mean, I agree. I think it's all about. Is it? I'll wrap it up in a little bit. Is it going or no?
Still go. But we got.
You always do these long sessions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, usually it's about an hour.
I'm like, estoy hablando un montón.
No, you're good.
All right, finish your point and then we'll go the last.
Okay. Is it good? Is it rolling? No, and I truly do think that's super important, right? And not letting it ruin your day, right? And still allowing it to move forward and becoming, the person that, because I one thing I respect is that when people can see that you're upset, right? And they feed off your energy,
Yeah.
they're gonna be ruin your day. So it's like a chain effect, right? I'm gonna ruin your day, I'm ruin his day, I'm ruin his day, and it's not fair to the people that are around you, right? And I'm a firm believer in the law of attraction, right? The more positive energy I can shine out on the world, the more likely that people are gonna gravitate towards you. The more than likely that people are gonna trust you, because you just gotta be positive. And if someone pissed you off, it ain't nobody's problem but yourself, right? You gotta figure it out, either solve it or push it aside until you give yourself time to get it done, So I think positivity is truly key. And I really am going to take that into consideration for my own self and my own business, because I think that's huge. I think you have to say it out loud. Yeah. It's just as much as choosing your goals and writing it down. You have to say it out loud so that way you can manifest it for the rest of the week. So I'm dead ass. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna add that to my own business. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. But I want to say thank you so much for coming out and dropping the amazing tips for those who are watching. And thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys truly did enjoy this. I know it's been an amazing guest. She's absolutely amazing. So if you could learn anything from her, I promise you will excel in life just from the things that she said. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have your cafecito on deck. We're super excited. Like, subscribe, turn on your post notifications, and if you need anything from us, let us know. Take care.